They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I've been thinking that this MX-5 might be the car that proves the adage wrong. You see, I had one of my worst self-inflicted racing crashes in an MX-5, and we're going to use that to illustrate my point, because I think this MX-5 might make me and you a better driver. What's it like? Buckle up, my friends. Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Makse, racer, lover of driving fast, fun things. And on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. Now, when I'm recording this, fall is here, and there's always a good excuse to get behind the wheel of an MX-5, especially this refreshed 2024 model. And I wanted to get some seat time before the weather turns. And now that I've got some time behind the wheel, refreshing my memory of how delightful this is to drive, I definitely have some ideas. And before we get into what this is like to drive and how it can make you a better driver, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. For 2024, the MX-5 has received a number of updates, and a lot of them very subtle, and most of them you can't actually see. The ones you can see are the new front and rear tail lamp designs, as well as this new wheel design. The rear view mirror is a frameless design, and the mirrors are auto dimming now. What's not so obvious is that the steering has been revised. There's a new rack, there's less friction in the system, it's been recalibrated, and it's stronger on center. For me, the biggest improvement is the new limited slip diff. It makes the car a little bit better on corner entry and exit. Kinematic posture control is still standard on the MX-5, but now the 24 model gets a DSC track mode, so if you do go to the track, you can take advantage of that. Under the hood is still the 2-liter inline 4 that makes 184 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 151 pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. This one is rightly equipped with a 6-speed manual. It is rear drive, does have that asymmetric limited slip diff that I was talking about. Steering is electrically assisted. Suspension's double wishbones at the front, multi-link at the rear, and because this is the Grand Touring model, or GT here in Canada, has Bilstein dampers all around. Curb weight of this model is a lithe 2,368 pounds, and static weight distribution is 52% front, 48% rear, but on this channel, we know it's not static weight distribution that counts, it's how you use it. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this, and if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below, lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. Fun fact, did you know that Mazda programmed the MX-5 not to start if it detects Hawaiian shirts and white New Balance shoes? Yes, true story. Keeps the Corvette drivers in their American cars. Every time I get behind the wheel of an MX-5, I feel right at home, and that's a testament to how well designed this cockpit is. The seat is nice and low on the floor, low to the ground, because we are driving a sports car after all. Shape and size of the steering wheel is perfect. The reach for the shifter, perfect. Pedal layout, perfect. And now with this ND3, we've got lots of adjustment in the steering column. So just about anyone can get comfortable behind the wheel with an effective seating position. Talk about pedals, well, let's throw in a couple of heel and toe downshifts, and those pedals are laid out perfectly. If you're not sure what heel and toe is or want to improve your technique, well, check out our episode on that exact subject. It's probably the best heel and toe tutorial you can find on YouTube. For 2024, there is a new big infotainment screen, and I just use it on Apple CarPlay, and I'm happy with it that way. What I still dig about this car is that we've got a very clear instrument cluster, big tack right in the middle, that is analog. Speedometer is analog, and then there's digital information on the left side. It's absolutely a blend of traditional and modern tech as far as I'm concerned. Ergonomics are simple and straightforward because this is essentially back to basics sports car, so there's not a lot of frills here. We do have controls for adaptive cruise control. I think that's new for 2024. It works just fine, makes longer distance driving that much easier, and for me, I would drive this at highly illegal speeds if I didn't have cruise control, so it's better that I do have a car equipped with cruise control. In terms of spaciousness, you know the deal. There's not a lot of room. It is at a minimum. There's a little bit here in the cabin. I do appreciate the lockable bin here behind the seats, but otherwise there's not much going on in this cabin itself. In the trunk, I've got a carry-on size camera bag, a fully loaded backpack, a couple of bottles of water, and my tripod, and that's about all that's going to fit in the trunk. In terms of visibility, well, you're driving a roadster. You can see in 360 degrees. And on top of that, the beauty of driving a roadster is you're adding one more of your senses to the mix of the driving experience, and that is you can smell everything that's going on, good or bad. And thankfully, right here, right now, we are smelling the sense of autumn. This does actually have a backup camera, making parking a little bit easier, but because of the form factor of this MX-5 and the fact that you can see in every direction makes it exceptionally easy to park. This car is so good at fixing driver errors. It's kind of like having that friend who enables you that says, nah, bro, you can do it just one more time. Now, that crash I was telling you about, well, here's the deal. This NC MX-5 was an absolute delight, just as pure and connected as the 2024 model we're talking about. The faster you drove this race car, the better it got. So there I was in qualifying, already sitting on pole position. But you know, racing drivers are greedy. Thought I'd go for an even quicker lap time because why not? Coming out of turn 1, I was flying 2/10 up and carrying an extra 2 miles an hour on corner exit. Feeling like a hero, I tapped the brakes for turn 2 exactly like before, except this time I'm carrying that extra speed right into the first apex where, fun fact, there's this lovely little bump. Usually the bump just gives you a playful 4-wheel drift, but at 2 miles an hour faster, well, let's just say physics has a wicked sense of humor. Instead of the usual graceful drift, the car went, nah, let's try something more dramatic. By the time my brain caught up with what was happening, I was having an unscheduled off-track excursion at 96 miles an hour. You know how they say time slows down in a crash? Totally true. I had enough time to do the math, realize the front end was definitely going to meet the wall, and think hands off the wheel would be smart right about now. Made contact at 46 miles an hour, which is plenty fast enough to ruin your day.
That was Papa. Oh, Papa's not going to be happy.
Since then, I've thought a lot about this crash and what if this situation was not about pushing harder, but pushing smarter. I knew I already had P1 in the bag, and the car was so completely happy at that pace that as much as it was telling me it was happy, I wasn't listening. This race car was already telling me, hey buddy, I know you think you're Ayrton Senna right now, but let's talk about physics for a second. 2 miles an hour. That's all it took to turn my qualifying hero moment into a YouTube crash compilation highlight. And that's the real genius of the MX-5 here, all generations. It's not about making the car idiot-proof. It's about making the idiot, well, less idiotic. Trust me, I speak from experience. And keep in mind that this was completely self-inflicted. Has nothing to do with the MX-5 at all. It was totally my doing. In terms of acceleration, this is supercar quick. No, just kidding. It does 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, at least well under 6 seconds. But straight line acceleration is not what an MX-5 is all about. It is about the overall motoring experience, and this is kind of perfection. It's a lightweight, simple, 2-seat roadster, and it's just brilliant in that regard. And as a package, that's really where it shines. But here's the thing, with that new limited slip diff, it is just much more confident on corner entry as well as corner exit, as well as when you might be sliding it around when you're, on the racetrack, not on public roads. This is kind of where the diff shines, is when you're exiting a corner, you've got tremendous confidence to get aggressive with the throttle. And on top of that, if you do slide it a little bit, there's tremendous chassis feel, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but this diff is much improved, and that's one of the beautiful things about this 24 MX-5 is that the refinements are all very subtle and incremental, making this perhaps the best MX-5 to date, but I really do appreciate that diff, but the rest of this package is just fantastic. The motor is eager to rev to 7,500 RPM. This gearbox is maybe the best you can get today in terms of its friendliness. The ratios are perfect. The gates are well defined. Great feel from the clutch. I have no complaints about this driveline whatsoever. As some people say they would like more torque, it makes just 151 pounds of torque, and sure, I can appreciate that from time to time, but this is what a naturally aspirated motoring experience is like, and if you do find yourself cruising along here where we are, we're doing, I don't know, 45 miles an hour, and we're in fifth gear, 2,200 RPM or so, and we lean into the throttle. Well, because it's light, it does pick up, but if you really want acceleration, well, go down a couple of gears and stand on the gas and get into the rev range where it makes horsepower. This being the Grand Touring or GT model, it does have the Bilstein dampers, but ride is remarkably compliant. I'm surprised. We're going to hit some railroad tracks here, railroad crossing, and let's see what happens here. No real intrusion. I'm very impressed. The ride is still compliant. Mazda's fundamental philosophy with the MX-5 is to let the suspension work. So yes, the ride is a little bit more compliant. There can be a little bit of body roll, but there's two ways that I appreciate. One, it definitely communicates what you're doing with the car. So that's another feedback loop. But one of the things they do to give you a little bit more confidence in the corner is they have kinematic posture control built into this car. It's purely software. All it does is it grabs the inside rear brake, and with the anti-dive geometry built into the suspension, that just keeps the car buttoned down on corner entry, through the corner, and on corner exit. Gives you a lot more confidence as a driver, something very subtle, and in fact, I can't even tell that it's working other than having more confidence in the corners with this MX-5. As for DSC track mode, well, here's the thing. They didn't have it before. 2023 and earlier didn't really exist. It was either systems on or systems off. This way, systems are backed off a little bit to give you a little bit more latitude in terms of playing with this. Also, it interferes less, which means it's braking less, and stability and traction are backed off a little bit. And that will help you explore the limits of this MX-5 on track while still keeping a little bit of a safety net. And when those systems do intervene, that's also a quality feedback loop. So if you're new to high performance driving on the track and track days, well, this is a great setup for you. It's a no-brainer. Get yourself a high-quality helmet, some appropriate footwear, get yourself a high-quality helmet, pump up the tire pressures on your MX-5, get a good instructor or driver coach, and enjoy your MX-5 on the racetrack. Now, harsh railroad crossing. I'm actually going to slow down for this a little bit. And not bad at all. You wouldn't expect a performance-oriented car to soak up those bumps, but that's exactly what this MX-5 does. Even though this one is not equipped with those 4-piston Brembo front calipers, braking is still excellent. I do find that there's a little bit finer control you get with those Brembo calipers, but even here, high-quality feedback through that brake pedal, excellent control, excellent modulation, and you got all the confidence in the world to stop this MX-5 on a dime. Now, in the corners, that's where this thing shines. So natural, so intuitive, up and down the box, heel and toe downshifts, no problem whatsoever. This road is terrible in terms of road surface, but this suspension just soaks up all those bumps and keeps the tires in contact with the road, which is the most important thing. Really, the highlight of this MX-5 is its high fidelity feedback. If you're paying attention, you can feel exactly what's going on at each of the contact patches. Absolutely perfect. Now this corner is a little bit off camber, lean into the throttle, a little bit of power oversteer. You can tell exactly what the chassis is doing. Absolutely brilliant. Oh yes, perfect. And I suppose that's the secret sauce with an MX-5. It does such a great job of connecting you with this car to the road and delivers high quality feedback that you can use to improve your ability to extract 100% or more out of a car's performance. How do you spec yours? Well, I do have some ideas. What you are looking at is a Grand Touring in the US or a GT in Canada in snowflake white pearl mica paint with the black leather interior with some nice gray contrasting stitching. Base price in the US is $34,285 plus $450 for this paint for a total as tested of $34,735 US. In Canada, base price is $44,890 plus $300 for the paint for a total as tested of $45,190, and that's before freight, local taxes, and incentives. The interesting thing about this particular model is, at least mechanically, it bridges the gap between a base model and the enthusiast model with the forged BBS wheels and the Brembo brakes, but this does have the asymmetric limited slip diff for 2024. It does have DSC track mode, and it has the Bilstein damper, so it's an interesting mix of components, but otherwise it is fully equipped. So if you're looking for something a little bit more luxurious and a little less enthusiast, this might be your choice. Now that I've spent a lot of quality time with the ND3, I have some opinions on how to spec yours, and this is a wonderful all-rounder. It's fully equipped. It's great for someone who's going to enjoy it on the open road and maybe not take it to the track at all, if ever. For me, I would like the Club in the US or the GSP here in Canada with the sport package. I would appreciate the Brembo brakes and the forged BBS wheels that come with that particular model. But this one, beautiful all-rounder, and I'm absolutely enjoying every minute behind the wheel. Just on this ND3, this 2024's revision, Mazda spent thousands of hours making this handle better, and especially with kinematic posture control and the DSC track mode, the steering, the diff, just an all-around better package, but it took them thousands of hours, which is actually less time than most HPDE drivers spend coming up with excuses. As for this MX-5 making me and you a better driver, it genuinely does for a number of reasons. It's the high fidelity feedback, it's the precise control you have with this car, and that's something you don't get anywhere else. Sure, everybody loves their 400, 500, 600 horsepower cars. Those cars are bigger, they're heavier, and feedback tends to be a little bit more muted. This, being back to basics, being 2,300 pounds, having high quality feedback is the kind of car you need from time to time. If you're new to performance driving, this is the perfect choice because you've got tremendous chassis feel, great feel from the steering, great feel from the brake pedal. It's so responsive and then delivers all of that feedback. It is the ultimate performance driving feedback loop. And as for me, it's an absolute joy to get behind the wheel of an MX-5 again, because there is nothing that drives like this in terms of its feedback and in terms of its responsiveness. And it's simply a joy for me to go back to basics. Now, as far as this car is concerned, this thing is incredible. Mazda's principle of Jinba Itai, the horse and rider as one, is demonstrated in this car. There's no other motoring experience where you feel as connected to a sports car as when you're in an MX-5. So when I'm behind the wheel and enjoying myself in the corners and pushing this car's limits, it reminds me of getting back to basics in terms of my driving technique, going back to corner theory, making sure I enter the corner properly, I transition off the brake and onto the throttle properly. and of course steer into that corner on that perfect line. And this is the car that does it. So if you're looking for something that's going to make you a better driver, this is the car for you. Thanks for hanging out with me today and having a look at this 2024 Mazda MX-5 Grand Touring, or GT here in Canada. Hope you liked this episode, and if you did, you're not new, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like this, and as always, sharing is caring, so please share this with your friends, especially on Reddit, because on Reddit, they really need to see reviews for drivers from drivers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including a very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. And remember, cars don't understeer by themselves, not even Mazda MX-5s. Hey, and since you've hung around this long, if you're new to the channel, I'm gonna drop a real treat for you right here. A few years ago, we drove the Flying Miata V8 ND conversion, and I encourage you to watch that episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.